Hi, I'm Teja Gerken with Peghead Nation, and today I'm here with two guitars from Taylor's recently introduced Legacy series. If you saw my recent demo of the Taylor 810e Legacy, you may already know a little bit about the background of this series, but basically what it is now that we're coming toward the end of Taylor's 50th anniversary year, this being 2024, Taylor has come out with a line of 5 guitars that basically celebrate some of its most classic, most iconic models. And these two guitars, the 855e that I'm holding and the 815e that is sitting over here next to me, certainly qualify as iconic Taylor guitars. As you can tell, both of these guitars have Taylor's original jumbo shape, and that is a design that goes back all the way to the American Dream days, where Taylor got its start back in the early 70s, before they became Taylor guitars. Sam Radding, who ran that shop, had a jumbo guitar much like these with a 17-inch lower bout. Taylor continued building guitars with this body style all the way until just a few years ago, when the Grand Orchestra models sort of replaced the original jumbo shape. And those are also very cool guitars. And of course, current models of those are also V-class braced. So they're very different guitars, but sort of modernized this idea of the big jumbo guitar. But there's really nothing like these original jumbo models that Taylor really became famous for. These legacy guitars are X-braced like they used to be, and they have a lot of the design elements and features that you would have found on older Taylors. Now, as was the case with the 810e Legacy, neither one of these guitars seeks to be an exact replica of an earlier guitar. These guitars are built with Taylor's NT necks, which is the fully bolted on neck rather than the original Taylor neck that was bolted on at the heel but glued on at the fingerboard extension. And there's a few other design elements that of course have been updated, but many of these features are very similar to what you would have found on an earlier Taylor guitar. The guitars have the slightly smaller peg head that was sort of part of the Lemon Grove factory era of Taylor. In the case of these two jumbos, Taylor brought back the mustache bridge, which I think is just a very cool design that again was inherited from the American Dream design. And Taylor used this on its jumbo guitars very early in its existence, and they sort of stopped because they were a lot of work to make, and I think a lot of them broke in the manufacturing process back in the day when they were making them by hand. Today, of course, they can make them on the CNC machine much more consistently and still really beautiful. And I just think it's a very cool design that's used both on this 12-string and the 6-string. And I should say that these guitars are essentially identical instruments in terms of their appointments and their features, just that the 855 I'm holding is the 12-string version, the 815 is the 6-string version. As 800 series guitars, they are of course built with a Sitka spruce top, really lovely Indian rosewood back and sides. They have white binding. They have the classic 800 series sort of diamond inlays in the fingerboard, which is also bound with white. They have a abalone rosette, the typical Taylor pickguard. So really, to people who know Taylors, these are immediately identifiable as 800 series guitars. Both guitars also have enclosed nickel Taylor branded tuners. In the case of the 12-string, they're mini tuners. The 815 has standard size tuners. You might notice that on the 12-string, even though Taylor has switched to a design where there's only 6 bridge pins that are shared by each pair of strings, this guitar still uses 12 bridge pins, which is how original Taylor 12 strings were also always built. One thing that I noticed on this particular guitar is the incredibly detailed compensation of the saddle, and that is something that's very tricky to do on a 12-string, and Taylor Taylor has done a beautiful job on this, and I have noticed that this guitar really plays in tune remarkably well for a 12-string guitar. Intonation can be a challenge to get it right between the pairs of strings, and Taylor really has put its sort of knowledge of 12-string guitars to work on really making this work beautifully. So I want to say a few words about the 12-string guitar in the context of Taylor's history. Many folks feel that 12 strings really had a significant part in Taylor's success early on. The guitars were designed to play easy, of course, as all Taylors were, but Taylor just really found a great combination of fusing their low-profile necks, which were new at the time, especially for a 12-string guitar, with the construction that could hold up to being tuned to standard tuning, standard pitch tuning, E to E, and still hold up and be easy to play. And that was not always the case in the early 70s. Many people tuned their 12 strings down a whole step to D just to make them playable and to keep the neck from warping. These guitars have really held up, and when they came out, Neil Young started playing one, and some other big name players started performing with 12 strings, and in many ways it really put Taylor out in a much more larger audience, made them visible, and so the 12-string guitar really has a big part in Taylor's history. And I think this 855 really is a totally iconic model that I've always really enjoyed playing, and it's been super fun to sort of return to this guitar, having had this guitar here for a little while to play, and just really enjoying it. Great finger picking 12-string guitar. You heard me play it like that a little bit earlier. Really responsive. I already mentioned the intonation on this. But of course, the guitar also strums really nice. So it has that iconic 12-string jangle. Beautiful sound, quite a lot of volume coming from this. 12-string guitars aren't necessarily loud. Some people feel like, well, it's double the strings, it has to be really loud. Not all 12 strings are, because many are sort of built so heavy that the top can't really vibrate freely. These have always been great sounding acoustic guitars. So really a fabulous instrument for really anyone looking for a great acoustic 12-string. It has a lot of acoustic power, and that's really super comfortable to play. So I think Taylor's doing a beautiful job bringing this 855 back as part of the Legacy series. And certainly players who have sort of wanted the more traditional X-braced Taylor 12-string sound should really check these out. Let's also take a look at the 815. So just as is the case with the 855, the 815 is another really iconic guitar. They used the jumbo style both on 6 strings and 12 strings in the early days of Taylor, again inheriting the design from the American Dream Shop. We have the mustache bridge. Really all the appointments and specs are identical on the two guitars. It also has the slightly smaller peg head that, again, as I mentioned, was part of the sort of Lemon Grove era Taylors. And these 6-string jumbos are just wonderful strumming guitars. A lot of singer-songwriters are big fans of these. I have an acquaintance who has I believe it's a 655, so with maple back and sides. That's a 1979, and he's been playing it ever since. And it's a great sounding guitar. He's a singer-songwriter, uses it for strumming, and really a fantastic sounding guitar, and quite similar to this in a lot of ways, 1979. So wonderful strumming guitars, a lot of power, really a rich sound. Even if I dig in a little bit harder. It's really really no limit to the headroom on these guitars. This is strung with medium strings, and you can really dig in and have a big, powerful guitar that just follows what you put into it. And what I find impressive about this is that even hit really hard, the sound never gets brash. It just really stays coherent. It's a great sound. It's got that kind of different overtone structure you get with the X-braced Taylors, and just a lovely guitar. Of course, plays fantastic, like all Taylors, and again is sort of built using a fusion of some of the newer building techniques that Taylor has developed since first coming out with these, and some of these really more traditional ways that Taylor built their guitars. Another aspect that separates both of these guitars from other current Taylors is that instead of the Taylor ES electronics with the controls in the upper bout and the pickup behind the saddle, this uses an LR Baggs element system, and it has the under saddle pickup, element pickup, and the volume and tone controls in the sound hole. And so that is a little bit more similar to what Taylor has used in the past before coming out with their system, and again sort of pays tribute to this classic era of Taylor guitars. So those are the 815e and 855e from Taylor's new Legacy series. The first 100 of these have labels that are signed both by Bob Taylor and Kurt Listock, and I think they're fantastic guitars, and they really sort of hit the spot for players who are sort of yearning for some of these more traditional Taylor sounds, the X-Brace sound, the shapes that aren't available anymore in the current lines, and I would highly recommend checking them out. I've had a lot of fun playing these. If you're seeing this on YouTube, please come over to pegheadnation.com. We'd love to see you there, not just for our gear demos, but also a wide range of courses and lessons. And yeah, we'd love to welcome you there. My name is Teja Gerken, and I think I'll go out and just play a little bit more on both of these guitars. Maybe we'll sort of fade in, fade out from one and fade in with the other. And I hope to see you very soon.